I'm bored.
Hey, kid!
Yeah?
Are you looking for something exciting to read while you enjoy some sugary cereal?
Yeah!
Then grab a copy of Mighty Mascots from Alterna Comics! Born from the ashes of a disastrous 3D printing accident, 8 living advertisements have banded together to right the wrongs of this world, led by a former child star. These unlikely heroes are freaks to some, but you will know them as the Mighty Mascots. The miniseries is 3 issues, full color, and printed on glorious newsprint. This is the fun superhero series that you didn't know you needed. Created and written by Keith Gleason, featuring artwork by Ian Morianto and colors by Anton Bondi.
Ahoy, I can't wait for more!
Mighty Mascots is part of your complete breakfast and comic book reading experience. Only from Alterna Comics.
Hey, everybody. It feels like it's not been too long since our last broadcast.
We can't say it's Wednesday night and don't adjust your screens because it is, in fact, Thursday.
Hey, everybody. My name's Keith Gleason, creator of the Mighty Mascots and your host of Indie Comics Relay. With me, as always, my good sidekick, my good friend, Johnny C., creator of Sartana and Surrounded by Death. How's it going, Johnny?
Oh, you know, it's a Thursday night.
Yeah. Is this like those when the radio days used to go the two for Thursday?
2 for Thursday, yeah, or 2 for Tuesday, but we're calling it Thursday.
Yeah. We've been doing so many shows because there's been so many Kickstarters, so many Indiegogos, so many people, being creative during the quarantine and putting some stuff out. So, I mean, it's really just exciting stuff. So that's why we're doing more shows, And
this one in particular, I worked on. So I felt like we kind of had to do a little bit of the special show just to squeeze it in.
Yeah. And then just a couple announcements too for the channel. I wanted to mention to you, I'm going to start putting up all the trailers that we have at the front end of the show. I'm going to put them by themselves as videos on the channel.
Oh, nice.
So like people can actually click on the Sartana one and just watch that if they want to watch it.
Yep. I'm slowly working on a Surrounded by Death one.
Yeah.
So
as soon as you have it ready, send it to me.
We'll have fresh content soon. Yeah,
definitely.
Although I love I love the trailer we showed last night.
Yeah, we're going to be showing this one next in a few minutes. The other thing I wanted to mention too is I'm going to start doing some lettering techniques for the channel. So if indie creators want to come and, check out how I letter a book, it's not necessarily like everybody else, but I'm going to give tips and pointers on how to letter comics, so
that's a really great idea. It kind of helps give people a little bit of a tutorial,
a little skills,
educational, skill set.
I can kind of throw some of my knowledge out there that I've learned over the years, so people can check it out,
Nice. I love it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I've got
Thanks,
nothing to
man.
bring to the table.
Well, and then the other thing I wanted to mention that we'll keep mentioning up until because the channel's almost a year old in May, and we want to do like an open mic kind of thing for like one of the nights. We'll pick a night during the week, and then anybody that wants to come into the show and promote something for 5 minutes, whether it be their comic, their crowdfunder, whatever they want to promote. Routine. Yeah, stand-up routine, YouTube channel, their podcast, whatever. They
5 minutes.
5 minutes, come in, promote, and then chug away. So promote away, plug away.
Yep.
Speaking of plugs, I want to play my new trailer, which is the trailer for the next 3 issues of Mighty Mascots.
Yep, that's coming down the pipeline real soon.
Real soon. I just sent all the files to the printer, so they'll be coming soon.
Nice.
This next storyline is about evil video game mascots. So I saw a little bit trailer.
I saw a little of the promo artwork beforehand, so I was really excited to see that come together and all these kind of because that's the cool thing about the mascots too, right? Is that there's like a real world counterpart, and you can clearly see that they're based on.
Yes, and they're all inspired by real things.
Yeah, and you kind of did the same thing for video game characters, and I love that.
Oh, yeah, awesome. So, let's show this new trailer, which I think everybody's going to enjoy. So, and then we'll bring on our tonight's guest. All right, let's see. All right, here we go.
Not over.
Yeah. Oh, I can never get sick of that. That's awesome.
The best thing I've ever edited, hands down. And
I love it.
So it was good. I want to premiere it a few more times. Going to premiere it on the alternate channel next week and things like that. So definitely trying to get the hype going,
Yeah,
pitchman skills going.
It's working.
All right. So speaking of pitchman skills, we have a new guest that is got a Kickstarter going, correct?
Yes. So our guest tonight is a good friend of mine. I've actually worked with him in the past.
Okay.
He's actually on a Kickstarter for the second issue of his series that he created. I helped him write the second issue.
Cool.
He helped me with my second issue of Sartana. So I'm going to share my screen real quick here just to give her a little preview. And while we're doing that, we could probably bring...
let's bring in. So tonight's guest is Jared Brown. Hey, Jared.
Jared
how
Brown.
are you doing?
Hello, boys. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for joining us on Indie Comics Relay. I've heard so much about you from Johnny over the last couple months.
He usually tells
feel
me
like I know you already.
Well, you do actually, because this is another scenario where we all hung out at Terrificon the last time it happened.
Yep.
We were all
pretzels.
Yeah,
big pretzels.
That was the same gathering that Sebastian was at.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we all sat near each other there.
So this is where I like to crib something my wife does here when she has she calls it face blindness, where she's like met somebody, but she forgets she's ever met somebody.
Yes.
That's me tonight. That's me.
That's me all the time. I
meet
too
so
many
people. It takes me probably about 5 or 6 times just to remember like a face, and then
Yes, I remember a face instantly. It's the name. I've forgotten your name about 30 seconds out, and then I have to sit there and try to go through the conversation and get you to say your name again or something.
Or a variation.
You ever had the time where you're talking to somebody and you think it's somebody, you have a recollection in your brain that it's somebody, and then halfway through the conversation it's like, this is not that person.
I've done that. I've done that so many times. It's the worst.
And then you're kind of backpedaling to see like if you said anything that revealed that you didn't know who they were.
I usually lead with the thing that makes me look like an ass. I'm like, I saw you at that thing last week, right? Blah blah blah. They're like, yeah, that wasn't me.
Are you sure? I could have sworn I saw you over.
Thank God for the pandemic and not having to go anywhere, so I can embarrassingly forget people.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so let's talk. One thing we always start with on the show, Jared, is like influences. Like, is there like in your past, like, is there a comic or a show or a movie that you saw, read that inspired you that wanted to be a part of like comic books, like the industry, to make comics? Is there something that put you on that path that you know?
Well, my first comic I was introduced, 6th grade, and a buddy of mine was in there, and he had what if X-Men had lost Inferno. So that was like my very first book introduction. Pretty brutal, Wolverine eating a baby. It was just, you wouldn't see it nowadays, kind of thing. But it got me interested.
It was the 80s.
Yeah, Wizard magazine, and I remember I was walking through the mall, and there was Wolverine on the rack with a Spectacular Spider-Man and a Ghost Rider. So I snagged all 3 of them, and then like after that, I was just hooked. And of course, it was a Silvestri that was working on Wolverine at the time, and then shortly after that was the boom. So then Jim Lee, Liefeld, all of them started rolling in, and after that, it was just off to the races.
You got in at like the rock star time of the industry when those guys were like asserting their dominance basically with Image Comics and everything. Like, that was a good time.
The pouches decade, or whatever you want. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then when did you know? How long have you been making comics, or is this something recent that you
actually I didn't want to make comics for the longest time, because I think at that point I was like, I don't want to draw pages over and over and over, but I had a story, and Image was like the Pit Comics, Gen 13, Cyberforce. When those all popped, it was like another explosion of just everything, and I really liked the idea of those guys just went out and like created something. So I started it, and then I kind of just left it like slide to the wayside, and that was it. And I didn't come back to it for many years later. So
interesting. So you had the creative spark, right at the beginning there, and then you put it away for a while. And then what brought you back?
Well, I was always drawing, but
were you? Okay.
Yeah. I never stopped drawing. Always did the drawing, but it was always the pinups and everything. It was just,
Okay, so you were still doing like comic stuff, but it was just more like covers and pinups and like
Jared's really good at the female pinup, the bikini model. Yeah, he's a pro at it.
There's some boobs on it. I've probably drawn it at one point or another. But,
hey, nothing wrong with that.
When he finally shares his screen, I'll have him make sure he puts up a few.
Oh boy,
no, that's refreshing, because a lot of people like shy away from that now. And
it's like the '90s all over again in Jared's portfolio. I love it.
Yeah, I always loved that artwork. I always loved it. I mean, things were just fun. Like, stories were fun. Everybody was like, big and over the top, and there wasn't a whole lot of reality. Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was okay that the hoots were oversized.
Everything was oversized.
Well, now it's like you never see it, like, because you take that male gaze. You're like. You know what I mean?
What? I've never had a problem with it. If guys want to run around and they can run around. The guys can run around in skin tight muscle suits. Anybody can admire that. It's the same with the women. I think anybody can admire whatever they want to look at. It's no problem. So
I just don't know why the comic industry got away from that. It seemed like you know, it was always, that was like like you said, it was like that over the top, like you knew you were reading a comic book, you know?
Well, if you
Right.
look back in the 70s and 80s, I mean, things were basically when Silvestri, Lee, all of them started right. That's when you started to see that change in the bigger guns, the pouches, the backpacks, whatever. Any body part was way over exaggerated, and
Marvel's swimsuit special.
Oh yeah, the
multiple.
Frank Castle seashell deal.
Yep. I had those. I had the Image comic ones. They put some out. I don't think DC ever did. DC was always a little more. They didn't get too heavy into that stuff. But yeah, I think it was
Well,
a change in art.
there was a
Yeah.
place for it, and I think there still is a place for it. It's just a different niche community that you're marketing to at that point.
Right,
And
right.
you just kind of have
Yeah.
to find them because people decided that it's fun to shun these people for some reason.
Yeah, and it's like you should be allowed to create within reason. I mean, don't be hateful. Don't be
Right.
making, be decent, but have some fun. I mean, everybody likes a little
Right.
something different. You can't pigeonhole people into things like, well, I don't like it, so you can't make it. It's like, no, that's not how it
I like
works.
to think that you don't politic imagination, right?
Right. I mean, if you don't like it, just
That's
go
great.
on.
That's
Go on.
Johnny. I like that.
Yeah,
It's true.
I wish more people thought that though, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I've
That's-
never looked down on anyone for creating. So you want to create something, you go ahead. As long as you're not being awful
Yeah.
about it, go to town.
So with kind of your inspirations laid out there, Advent Dark is your first book, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how you got to Advent Dark #1.
Well, it started in '94. I'm dating myself here a bit, but the idea was '94. I had been reading Pitt and Gen 13 stuff, so I was coming up with that whole cliche: the government's got aliens, and is there a super team behind it, and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I had built. It was time traveling. It was all over the world. There was heavy Egyptian ties to it. I mean, it was a completely different story. The main character was male. The current character, she was actually green with black hair, still had the energy blast power, but her body was actually organic, would just unroll itself. And it kind of like, do you remember Random from X-Force or X Factor?
Oh yeah, he could form cannons out of his hands, right?
Yeah, he was reactive to whatever was attacking him. She just would kind of unravel, her hands would come apart and go back together into weapons, stabbing weapons. And
Little carnage-ish, venomish kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, she didn't extend too far out. It wasn't like she was like infinitely, she just would kind of reshape herself. But and I have one guy, he would grow bone armor and stuff like that. He's been completely omitted from everything, so he's gone. But I left it sit for years, and I came back to it, and I was reworking it, and I wanted to do a whole aliens come down, they've messed with people's DNA, they release something that whoever's got the most DNA in them for the aliens will kind of become the upper crust, and everyone else kind of gets shunted to the side. Like there was the Midwest of the United States had become just like this giant citadel. There were pirates in the Caribbean, but they were all like clockwork and automatons and stuff, kind of nuts, different things. And Marvel came out with the Inhuman storyline where the Inhuman cloud, was going all over the earth, and it was activating genes all over on people. Like they would turn into Inhumans.
That was
And
the
I'm
book
like,
that had the Jai Lee cover, right? Jay Lee cover, I believe. The black cover
so.
with the the black
Joe Mad
cover.
Joe Mad was working on it for a little bit too. That was like one
Yes.
of his big comebacks, and people freaked out.
Yep.
And as soon as I saw it, I'm like, well, I'm taking this back out behind the shed with a shovel and starting over because I can't run that.
That's the tough thing too. It's like you have this idea, you love it, right? You develop it, you do a bunch with it, and you immediately find out a movie or something like different is happening.
That's
And
happened to all of us.
That's the sad thing, is that like the common misconception is like, I can't do it, it already exists, right? But the thing is,
Right.
only you can tell your own story your way. So it's like, you go ahead and make it still, because it's like inherently yours and it's unique enough because it's coming from your voice specifically, right?
Yep.
And most people get so discouraged by that, they kind of put it in a drawer and let it go,
and that's 100% true. I remember I went to 1 year at the Kubert school, and I remember one exercise we had, like where they had us draw. They took a Calvin and Hobbes strip, right? Like the 3-panel strip, and they had us redraw it. We all had to redraw the same, 3 panels, but we had to come up with new dialogue for the scene. So I'm like thinking, everybody's gonna write the same thing, because it's the same picture, so you had to write new dialogue. And I'm like, 30 of us in the class, and not one of us wrote the same thing. So it's like, you in your head you think everybody's on the same page, but we're really not, which is more to your point, Johnny. And that exercise demonstrated it for me,
Well, you're not going to reinvent the wheel, but you are going to, add some mags to it, maybe some spinners.
Yeah,
some lights,
right. There'll probably be similarities, but you'll probably
I make my wheel out of chocolate.
I'm more of a cheese wheel kind of guy.
Yeah. Take it for a hunk of cheese.
A little bit of cheddar,
little timber action.
But yeah, I ended up. I took those characters and I took the girl in green and I took the main character and I mashed them together, so they are actually a combination of 2.
Oh, interesting.
But I've been picking through the old ideas, and I think I'm going to have something fun coming up with some of those old characters it's all going to insert very well. So I get ahead of myself. I'm already like 4 volumes in my head. And I'm only on issue 2, but
I get texts from him occasionally going like, "Hey, this will be cool for issue 6," and I'm like, "That's like 7 years from now."
Yeah.
No, my God, not 7 years. I'd like to get going a little faster. But
when did you produce the first issue? I saw that there was a Kickstarter on that as well.
That was 2019, I think.
So one a year? Is that what you're on now, or
this
you want
book
to amp it up a little bit?
Except for the butt page, because I still have to finish the butt page. I have one.
Tell the story about the butt page now. You have.
I'm not making my brother lay down to show his butt. That's not. No.
All right.
So. I gotta hear the butt. I have to hear
the butt
the
story.
We're
getting ahead of ourselves. Way ahead of ourselves. This is issue 2 we're talking about now, right?
Yeah.
So, Jared, do you have that page handy by any chance, or can you bring it up?
Yeah, give me a second here.
All right. Well, he's bringing that up. Keith, can you share my screen real quick?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So I was lucky enough to work with Jared on Sartana issue 2.
Okay. Actually, initially, Johnny, stop right there. And so how did you guys meet? Like, was it at a Creator AfterCon thing?
How did we meet?
Was it Saratoga?
It was either Saratoga or Vermont, maybe?
No, I was in Vermont after Saratoga. I think I got through because I ended up meeting the guys in Saratoga, and they told me about the Vermont show.
I forget how I met Jared, but thank God I did.
And how did your original collaboration come together, Johnny? Did you saw his work and you're like, I need him on this book, or is it like?
Yeah. So at the time, my Sartana artist, Joe Arnold.
Joe Arnold did the first issue, correct?
Joe Arnold did the first issue and the B story, the second story in issue 2. Okay. So I had 2 different artists. I had Jared for part 1, Joe for part 2 of issue 2. Ideally, I wanted Joe for all of it, but Jared actually kind of expressed a little bit of interest in Sartana, the cowboy thing.
Maybe it was Veritoga.
Veritoga. I wish there was a Veritoga.
Okay, so sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. So Jared expressed some interest in working on, and Jared had done a lot of things for me. He had designed my backdrop banner. So if you saw me at shows, the backdrop was designed by Jared. So I mean, clearly he was an artistic talent. I could see it. But we hadn't worked on anything long form or like sequential yet. So that's kind of something I really wanted to do. I wanted to give Jared a shot doing something like that. I also wanted to be able to give us an opportunity to put a book on both of our tables. Mm-hmm. Right. So I wanted him to be able to sell a $5 book and me sell a $5 book, and some of his content is in there. Right. And then, and then also because at the time, Joe Arnold was very busy in his personal life and other things. So like he wants to do it and he was really gung ho for it, but he also couldn't quite do it at the time. So it was just like, okay, let me give Jared a shot. So that's where we started working on Sartana 2. So let me just kind of flip through and like, if you look, this isn't the standard type of artwork from the previous issue. It's a little bit different, but it's also still kind of refreshing, still kind of in the same vein
Love the
of
colors.
yeah, the colors are awesome.
Yeah.
The colors are still Eugen. I stuck with Eugen for this, but Eugen complimented Jared's artwork so well.
Well, that's the first I had somebody color my art like that too. So I mean, and this was a challenge for me because I've never done anything with Western. Yeah, you gotta slip at least one of them in there in a Southern in the West. It's like a standard.
Yeah, you need that. It's like a standard trope.
Yeah, I love this. I mean, a lot of this, even though like Jared admittedly has a little bit more of a cartoonier style, he still captured the grit of just a Western so perfectly well. And this page shows it very well. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's awesome. He did such a great job with it, and I was just really happy with all the results I was seeing with it. So you know, it was, you know, I was really glad to be able to have worked with him here. And then in the meantime, he was also doing Advent Dark.
Yeah, I was doing 2 books at once there.
So you were doing this and the first issue of Advent Dark?
And a full-time job. So yeah, I didn't sleep a whole lot. So yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, we all know that feeling when we're all working jobs.
Yeah, if you want to get anywhere.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, you got to find a way to make it work. I mean, there's people that just quit their job and go for it, but like I always need a safety net. So
yeah, that's the whole thing.
Jared, can you talk a little bit just to kind of preset how I got involved? Can you talk a little bit about the partnership you had on issue 1 and how that worked, how it shook out, how things didn't work out, and kind of how I came on the scene?
Yeah, I had met a good friend of mine, Shell Presto. I call her Shell Presto DiBaggio. Her and her husband are a team. They do writing, they do artwork, they do their own books and such. And I had done the first 12 pages of my first issue. It was very rough. I wrote it, and I'm not a writer, but I tried it. I just wanted something out there. And she read it, and she came back to me, and she said, I would love to finish this for you. And I'd be like, this is fantastic. So she fixed up the first 12 pages. She wrote the second half. We went back and forth on things, and we got a first issue out. Second issue, I was done with most of the art by July of last year, actually. And we were kind of missing each other back and forth, and just between COVID, family, she had a huge workload. She was like, I just can't commit to this and do everything else, which I understood, everything, all her stuff certainly comes first. So I was kind of stuck in limbo there. I didn't really have anybody to write, and I conned this big guy here. I was like, hey, what do you think about writing this, fixing up this second issue? I said, I'm already 17 pages written. I said, what do you want to do? And so he went through, and we went back and forth, and he rewrote chunks of it. I loved it. He helped me on a few panels, stuff that, first I was happy with. And then when I saw what he did with it, I was like, okay, that's much better. So I ended up redrawing like probably 6 pages in that book.
So yeah, that was the other thing too, is that when Jared first approached me, right? I was just kind of getting off of doing some shorts for my Surrounded by Death artist Joe Martinez's portfolio, and at the time I was like, okay, I had to like polish up issue 3 of Surrounded by Death. I had the 3rd volume of Cthulhu I was kind of pre-plotting, and I also have this body horror project I've been working on for a little bit. That my plate was pretty full, and Jared's like, "Hey, I really need some help."
Hey Jared, your audio is
you're coming in a little robotic.
Yeah, does it?
Yeah. Try unplugging and plugging it back in. But while he's doing that, so I was like, I didn't want to do it at first, but I love Jared. He's a good friend. I made the exception to be able to work with him again because we worked so well on Sartana 2 together. So in doing so, I saw the work that was already put in. The previous writer had actually already written, 12 pages? Jared? Was it like 15 pages was already written or something like that? And it was hard to... You're muted again. Jared, you're muted now.
17.
I don't know. Something's going on with that microphone.
Yes, that microphone. Yeah.
Sounds like we're talking to Advent Dark.
Yeah. So I took a lot of what was already written for issue 2.
Okay.
And I kind of restructured it, and I kind of put it a little bit more in the like what I guess would be my voice. And I felt like the content I wrote was kind of channeling a little bit more of like the vibe the book was going for. Like I feel like a lot of Jared's work would take place in the mid 80s, early 90s kind of vibe. Like, right. So it was like I was kind of channeling the books that I thought of and the books that I loved during that era. Hellboy. Because Hellboy is, to me, whether Jared was inspired by Hellboy or not, a lot of what I see in Advent Dark kind of
Has
like
a Hellboy feel
has
to
a
it.
Hellboy kind of vibe and feel, government agency, alien and supernatural characters that are working for this agency as a team. It very much screams Hellboy. Not that it's a ripoff of it, but it's kind of like you could see some of the flavor permeating through the project. And then in terms of the character specifically that's being debuted in issue 2, I felt like this character was like the best version or basically his version of Logan, for a lack of a better. So I put a little bit of like that Frank Miller Logan vibe into the character, and that's kind of the voice I kept hearing when I would type his dialogue there. I don't know. Would you agree with any of that, Jared?
I'm afraid to say something. How's that sound?
Oh, no.
Yeah, you sound great now.
Sounds good.
Oh, I switched to the camera. Maybe it's just the headset. I switched the camera.
It's the headset.
Maybe,
it's gotta be. And this thing's brand new. I love
Actually,
it.
bring the mic back down again because that sounded better.
Yeah.
Maybe it is through the mic.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. There you go.
That's very strange. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
But
actually, before you go into that, what is Advent like? Give us like the elevator pitch for Advent
elevator
Dark,
pitch,
so people know that are watching what we're talking about.
He pretty much hit it. Danny is a alien human hybrid.
Okay.
That's the main character with the mohawk.
Right. She's the main character with the shaved head there. I haven't gotten too far into how that's going to be the next 2 issues or so. I don't want to give everything away right away, but she pretty much gets brought into this government agency. They train her up. She eventually becomes
right. Yep.
Right.
Okay.
She's basically like, you call her like a cop. I think he was right. It's a mix between Hellboy, Men in Black, and one of the other big influences was Gargoyles, believe it or not, from Disney. I loved how Weisman went all over the world and pulled lore and pulled, just stories in general from everywhere. And I always thought, why can't they all exist at once? Like, and Hellboy kind of touches on that too. Men in Black have something like that. And I thought, that's what I want. I want it all encompassing. I don't want one little thing that they focus on or hyper focus on. So, like one of the story ideas I'd had at one point was like a Cthulhu style alien who comes down to Earth, but he's like a shyster. He's a dirtbag kind of guy, but he starts a cult. And basically they all think he's Cthulhu or Cthulhu based, but really he's just a con man. And he's just got all these people around him. It's like that kind of feeling, like they find him and he's like, oh, hi guys. It's like, caught with his pants down kind of thing. And
so she works for the government to like stop these aliens.
Yeah, it's like the whole covert operation kind of thing. They have a private base. They go all over the place checking things out. There are multiple teams of, which I'll touch on later, but they're like the core team right now.
Okay. Yeah, that does sound very inspired by Hellboy and like that kind of, where he has like his little team of supernatural guys too, Yeah, that sounds cool. And let me see. So you funded the first one. That one did well, right? You made your goal and everything.
Yep, made the goal.
Awesome. And you're doing well. I mean, you got 12 days to go. You're at 1,500, so we've got about another 1,000, and then you guys will clear.
I've got a few waiting in the wings too. I'm still tracking people. Like I got a bunch that are still, I'm going to get.
But
to
still, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're more than halfway, so that's awesome.
You're right. You're more than halfway. You're tracking, considering the time left to go, right? Mm-hmm. And then usually at the end, you get the uptick that's thrown at you from Kickstarter anyway.
You're
so
right, first day and a half is big.
Like kind of
So what that means for viewers is that this is a sure thing. The goal is low. It's gonna hit. You're not.
And you're almost done the issue. Right?
Yeah, and the issue's almost done, right?
Just the just the butt panel, really.
The
And
butt
some,
panel. That brings us to the butt panel.
Well, no,
And
before
some
we get
tweaks.
into that, so what we're trying to say is it's almost done, so people will get this book quickly, right? Like,
Oh yeah,
probably
it
in the
was like a
next
month
few
and a
months.
half ahead of schedule last time. I was pretty quick with it.
Yeah, so that's great.
I don't
So
like letting people wait.
People can count on this. You know, they
And
don't
you're
have to.
and you're that much closer to stretch goals, right? So,
Yeah.
given that if it overperforms, you're very much in the range to hit some stretch goals as well. So
Yeah.
then to that extent, this is a really great deal for people to jump on. So that's
Yeah,
kind of the point I was
definitely.
trying to express.
Well, that's the good thing about crowdfunding. You get in on a certain level, and then as it gets higher and higher, because you paid into that like level, you're getting all this other stuff, So it's like you end up getting more than your money's worth.
Well, I've got the trading card set's the new one I did, and like these I just got done. I'll get them in the camera right there. But like, look at these things.
That looks
Like,
great.
gorgeous.
Wow, is that like a
These things
foil?
yeah, it's
foil card.
I have a foil cover and I have a holographic just for fun. I have the set of 7
wow.
regular cards, and then I have those as like a special little addition. I just something extra to throw in. I mean, if I can get higher over the total, I've thought T-shirts, I've thought whatever I can, just
whatever
throw
you can
people.
add to the campaign.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. I want people to get cool stuff. I want them a good story to read, and I want some good artwork for them. So there's original art. I've got a limited supply. I'm keeping it limited too. It's
Shiny.
hand drawn
5
sketch
different-
cards.
5 different covers.
I got
Yeah,
5
I
covers.
saw that. Let's take a look at those. They're down here on the.
Yep. Chris
Well, here,
Mad
let's
did.
Look at some of the artwork here. So this is some of the pages from the new issue. I take it, right?
Yep.
Awesome.
This is one of the pages I had him rewrite or redraw
Mhm.
rather.
Yep.
Okay. And here's the variant covers. I used the
Oh,
one in our
beautiful variant.
thumbnail with the bear because I thought that was the best one out of these.
That's
5.
Chris Mad's. Yeah,
That's
is
Chris
pretty
Mad.
good.
Yeah. Chris
Yeah.
Mad, fantastic artist. Not to knock any of the other artists, but Chris Mad,
Well,
magnifique.
no, they're all good. I especially like the simplicity of this one.
I wanted
I
that
did
glow in the
too.
dark.
I love how
Yeah.
her face kind of blends.
I wanted
into
glow in the dark
cover.
so bad. I couldn't find.
Yeah, that'd be a
anybody
great
to,
sticker or something.
Yep.
Good print. This would make a
And
great print for people. I think. I'm intrigued. Is this a bear or is it a werewolf?
It's a bear. I did not want to go werewolf on the. I think
Gotcha.
a werewolf was a little.
Oh,
people have always
It's the
done werewolf.
concept. It's the same idea though.
Same
It's a
concept?
transforming.
Bonded to an evil,
bear,
well, not
or
a
if you
tortured
will, or-
spirit, I should say. He's bonded to a tortured spirit, and he has that whole, like he said, he's got a Logan feel to him where he's a good person struggling with this tortured spirit attached to him.
Gotcha. Almost
And
like
there's
the
a lot of
berserker
tragedy.
rage of Wolverine, where it just
Yep.
kind of gets him into trouble.
Yep.
Oh, okay. This is cool, and this is all of the tiers that you have.
Yeah, I got a magnet there. The magnets are pretty cool. I can't get those in.
Oh, wow.
So
Yep. Very cool, man. Very
buttons. What do we got? Buttons. We've got bookmarks, sketch cards, trading cards. Yeah, just trying to.
cool. Very
Chris's
cool.
awesome cover. Kyle's awesome
Yeah.
cover.
Kyle does
Now-
good work too. I really like Kyle.
Are you
And
putting
it's
any
all reasonably
limitations?
priced, too.
Are there any
I'm
like
sorry.
limitations on the covers? Like, is it only like 10 covers, or are you?
I was-
you know,
For the special artists like Chris and Kyle, I keep those covers down simply because I feel if you're going to put money toward the Kickstarter, just to have them just handing them out, why would that be for anybody then? If you put money
Right.
down on the Kickstarter, you get that book. After that, it's if I've got a couple left over, that's what you can get after that.
So-
They're gone.
do you have a number that you're printing, or is it more just like there's a limited set that you have in mind?
There's a 25. You got to do 25 limited. So I think on the last run, I might only have and since we didn't have shows, I didn't get out to get any, to people. So like Kyle has like 5 issues left. Matt Flint did some on the first one. I think I might have 5 or 6 of his left. I mean, all the rest are gone. So, and they got a couple themselves. So
Awesome. Yeah, I see that you're doing add-ons. So Kickstarter, did they start doing that finally?
yeah, like snuck in. It wasn't on my first one. And when I saw it, this was again, a lot of a learning experience for me is just trying to figure all these things out. So if you do a pledge,
Yeah, you
and
can
they'll
add on the
and you
stuff
create
want.
these, it just goes in. It's like, do you want to add this? It's like, yeah, sure, I'll do You know,
Yeah,
and I
no,
just
the
tacked
reason I
on.
say it because Indiegogo has been doing add-ons. I did that on my last campaign, and it was really a lot of people took advantage of it. So I'm glad to see Kickstarters actually doing this now. That's
Well, yeah, because like
fantastic.
even with mine, I put like the trading cards as like they're even like their own little add-on. You don't get the sketch cards with it, so that's like you don't get as much as you would get on the tier, but they are available to grab. So
Gotcha. Yeah, dude, this looks good. It's like very, very good looking campaign. I'd like to check out the video too at the top here.
yeah,
Is how
Oh,
long's the
yeah.
video? Is it
this is
like
AJ Nutter did these. He did my last one too. He's really
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Video's
All right, yeah,
awesome. Here
let
we
me,
go. Roll that footage.
all right. Very cool, guys.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's great. That's really good.
Yeah, it's pretty
man.
fun.
60% of the goal, so you're more than halfway there. That's awesome, man.
Yep. Yeah, we'll definitely hit it. I'm hoping you get some more people step up. If we get a little bit more, we can add some more extra stuff and put them in the bags for people to have. So
Yeah, I forget. Was it 12 days left?
yeah, it's 12 days.
Okay,
12 days
that's
left.
that's more than enough time.
Oh yeah,
More than
there's
enough
lots of time yet. Yep.
That's awesome. So, what is there like specific like science fiction TV shows or movies that kind of helped inspire Advent Dark?
Farscape was always.
Oh,
a
okay.
big one.
Farscape's a great one.
It's got an
Yep.
X-Files feel for sure.
Oh yeah, the X
Oh
Files
yeah,
in general.
X-Files. Yeah.
And Altered Carbon. I was watching Altered Carbon
Oh,
while I
how
was
is
working.
that? I was curious about.
That's a good
Didn't it
show.
get-
The first season I saw. The second season.
Didn't it get canceled
Yeah.
though? Did Netflix
I think it
cancel it?
did,
That's
yeah.
why I kind of stopped. I had it in my
Which killed
queue.
me. It's only 3 books, I think. And the first season, I think, was like the first book. First season was amazing. Second season, it wasn't bad, but it didn't have that same feel to it that the first one had. But visually, just gorgeous show. Love watching
Oh wow,
it.
okay.
So,
And
yep.
then so that influenced this comic a little bit, huh?
yeah. It's just like you take little bits and pieces from stuff and use it, where you can. Whatnot. Like I was kind of getting nervous because Cyberpunk came out.
Oh,
And
the
one of the
video
main,
game,
one of the main characters comes out. She's got purple hair, shaved on the side. She's got the pop collar. She's got the lines on her face. I'm like, what the hell? And I'm sending him messages at like 1:30. And what is this? What's happening?
Meanwhile, I'm actually playing Cyberpunk going, this is fucking cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. But like I said, you don't reinvent the wheel. You just put some.
I wouldn't
on
let
it.
the video game ruin that.
Right. Yeah. But that's you always run the risk of that. You always run the risk of somebody, because people have the same ideas. It just happens. That's the way it is. So
Yeah, and it's just how comfortable are you, and how like how much of how similar are they actually? That kind of thing. So
and I kind of can't wait though for like my next issue. I've already been planning. I got 3 and 4s already like mostly planned out, but I'll certainly be refined tuning. But I'm having it take place in Scranton for a very brief time. So
Scranton. So wait, is it going to be in the office?
no, not.
Well, Jared's from PA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I know in pop culture that's in Scranton is the office. So did we lose Jared?
Oh, I think we lost Jared.
All right. Well, Johnny, so tell it. So are you going to continue as the writer on this series going forward, or?
I'm gonna try to.
Okay.
I don't want to make a promise or a guarantee because I don't know. I really kind of did this to help Jared along, help him out. I'd like to keep going because I kind of really like the story. I like the characters. I really like we're working with Jared. Just we haven't kind of figured out logistics behind the scenes yet. You know what I mean? Like
like
monetary ownership,
right,
any of
or
that stuff. Like,
well,
yeah.
maybe he could. You know, if you he's back. I think
There
he
it
is.
goes.
All right.
I couldn't tell you what got froze up on the screen here, and I thought,
You're back to the robot voice. He can't win.
It's aliens, Jared. They're in your
It's aliens.
Last night, no problem at all. Tonight I got this.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
Okay,
You unplugged it and plugged it back in last time, right? Do that and then do that and unmute yourself. Do whatever you did last time and then unmute yourself. And while he's doing that, what were you saying before, Keith?
No, I was saying so you got you could work out some deals where he does some artwork for you in between or something, you know, or
he's always good for it. I know that for a fact.
like
Jared is dependable, professional, works quick. Except for the microphone, and he's goddamn adorable too. Look at him.
You could move to. You might be able
ladies.
To move
he's
to your
single.
phone.
Ladies, he's single.
You might be able to move to your phone if you're having issues or an iPad.
Is it still having issues?
Yeah, we're still getting your.
It's all good.
The picture's perfect, but the audio.
Don't go off the headset. Use your computer's thing if you can.
What?
Does your computer? Oh, there you go. You're better now.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. We're joking. We're just kidding. So yeah, I mean, I'm very open to working on more with Jared. Yeah, absolutely. I love his story.
As a creative team, you guys find out what makes it work, you know. And like you were saying earlier too, Johnny, it's like it benefits you both by having like an extra book at your table, you know, that you both worked on, you know.
Yeah, so I mean, if that would be the case, then I would be adding, you know, I'd have The Pond, I'd have Surrounded by Death, I have Sartana, I have
Cthulhu,
I have Bisbik Heinz, Agent 57 with Jay Moores and R.W. Martin, and then now Advent Dark.
Yeah, and then I'm sure Jared would give you some number ones to kind of sell with the number twos, right? I mean,
yeah, I'm sure.
Or you could buy them for him at a discount, and then, you know, get some of the swag too that goes with it. Why not? You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
It just makes you look better at conventions when you have more stuff. You know.
The only thing is, I'm a thorn in Jared's side when it comes to artwork. He's always having to re-illustrate because of me, right?
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it.
Including the whole Butch story. So what the Butch story is that when
wait till he gets the audio back.
Maybe he just has to share the image, and I'll tell the story. I'll be the voice. So he sends me the images, and the last thing to get illustrated is probably the one thing he's dreading to illustrate the most, and it's literally a line in the backside of the main character who's found naked in a field by police officers. Okay. So, like, I don't know if you remember the cone heads, how they didn't have butt cracks.
Yeah.
It's exactly that. And I'm like, come on, man, you gotta put a butt on that guy.
So do we have the audio? Oh, here we go. Let's see. There. Hey, that's a nice ass. So is that the girl from the main girl?
No, actually, that's the main character guy.
Okay.
The bear wolf.
The bear wolf. Okay.
The bear wolf. The werebear.
The werebear.
The werebear.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's funny. Dude, did you get your audio back, Jared? I think we even lost his.
We lost him again.
Might have to have him reboot.
Yeah, possibly. I love this. I love the frame that it froze on. He looks so amused.
Looks like he's impressed by his own artwork, you know?
Yeah. Jared is one of the best. Great artist, good friend, kind soul, loves good Mexican food like I do. And you know, any meal that ends with a tequila shot is A-okay by me, you know?
Yeah, and I'm sure we, like you said, I met him, and I'm sure we had a great conversation. And now it's like, you know, I'm just meeting them again for the first time.
Yeah, well, it's different because when individuals come on the show, it's like you go to conventions, you meet people in passing, you kind of find out a little bit about them, but you never ever have enough time to really get at the core of any individual.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
Keith, you and I, we saw each other in passing all the time, but it wasn't until that we actually started double dating with your wife and my ex-girlfriend at the time. Did we not get to know each other better? And you know what I mean? It was nice.
Yeah,
And now,
it's funny. I think the first time I connected you with a creator and everything was at my first Plastic City Con. Actually,
oh yeah,
when
that's
you
right.
were with Jay,
Jay Moulton.
Jay Moulton promoting Vermont, right? At the
That's
time?
right. Yeah, I stuck behind the
And then
table.
you came to the dinner, and I was like, and that's when I officially kind of met you.
Yeah,
And then I saw you at Northeast. I think maybe 6 months later, and it was like that was it. Every time I saw you after that,
yeah.
we were
I was around. I get around.
Yeah, it was awesome. How's the audio?
We back?
Test.
A little bit better, but not. You're still a little scratchy.
Last
So,
night was perfect. I had
Actually,
there we go.
Now.
You're back.
Now.
You're back.
Maybe it's
You're
a
good now.
loose connection somewhere.
It's
on the
probably a
wire.
loose connection. I'm gonna mail you a new headset, bro.
So
This
as long
is a
as
new
you
headset.
stay right in that
Return
position,
it.
you're good, right?
Yeah.
this thing
Don't
was
move.
bought specifically for this. Brand new. It was working fine. I don't know what's going on. I apologize tonight.
No
That's
worries.
rough for you guys.
No apologies necessary. Actually, we had a worse connection with Roy Thomas when we had him on.
Yeah.
Remember that, Johnny? It was like
that was rough.
literally every 5 minutes it was cutting out. We would just start to get into a good question, maybe something that Roy had never answered before, and then it was like he's gone.
Yeah.
That was the
Tough.
worst.
It was a good show, but through all that, it was still a good show, and I actually still get compliments from individuals who saw that episode. They're like, "Oh, that was a good episode."
Oh, okay. Yeah, we got into some funny stuff. I remember we found out some artist he worked with was in jail, and
yeah, that was a wild story. That was such a wild story.
Stuff. But
well, that's the best thing about this show too, specifically, and even for you, Jared, is that it's not only just tonight when people are watching. It gets posted, people come back to it, people catch it a week later. So I mean, you got 12 solid days of this getting this. The appearance you did on Nerds of the Round last night, other appearances you do elsewhere, for people to check it out, check you out as a creator, and then in turn possibly back the campaign. You know what I mean? The story.
Yeah, I need a new headset and camera too. Apparently, so
yeah. All the more reason to back this campaign. This man needs new hardware.
He's putting out quality work for you, so definitely help him out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so actually we can show some of your other stuff here too. I got your website here that you set up for Advent Dark.
Yep, fire it up. So you actually do.
Go ahead.
Go on. I was just
going to say, is this an image from like anything, or is this drawn just for the website?
No, I've used it in a couple promo pieces. It's just a Wix site, but they're actually pretty versatile. I liked it, so I just plug and play everything.
So I actually lied earlier because this isn't the first comic you've done.
Oh yeah, what do we got?
He's done a comic strip before too. That's based on on real life individuals.
It's a little rough. It's rough. Yeah, it's years old. I've never gotten to it,
but it's not terrible. Actually, one other thing about Advent Dark, and I don't know if there's somewhere you can direct us on the page.
This image a lot.
Yeah, it's a good one. I'm actually in this book as a character too.
Yeah, go to the bios.
Yeah. Go to the bios.
Try the bios. Yeah. There you go. Everything should be working.
There I am. You can't miss me. Bandana, red eyes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's me. All right.
I love it, dude. I love it.
They asked me last night. They said, "Which one of your characters would get in a bar fight?" I said, "This one."
Does it have Johnny's personality, or is it like?
Yeah, I go. He'd be a happy.
Well, I wrote him right.
Nice.
He'd be a happy bar fighter. So
yeah, I love that. That's great. That's a good little Easter egg.
Yep. So if people know me, they see that like this alien looks a little too familiar.
Very cool. I mean, this looks good. And then we have your Instagram too. I put all these links. Look at this. What is this going on over here? You know?
Oh yeah, look at that nice little promo for the show tonight.
Yeah, right.
But look at that. Look at this artwork right here. This cheesecake stuff right here. That's fantastic. This is some of Jared's specialties. So if there's stuff that you like, so a long time ago, Jared did a She-Hulk for me. He was like, "What's your favorite superhero character?" And then next thing I know, in the mail, I got a nice little She-Hulk card and a little bikini pose. It's pretty cool.
So do you, Jared? So that brings looking at your Instagram. Do you do commissions for people? Like if people want to commission you for stuff, do they reach out to you through Instagram or your website, or what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Instagram is good. I get lots of messages through there, Facebook, wherever they want to. Yeah, I'm under Darkstream Studios. It's kind of hard too. You gotta. There is like another Darkstream Studios out there, which completely kills me. I had my .com. I didn't have money at the time to renew, and
just
they took
go to this video, and I put all the links in already.
Yeah.
Stuff. So
if they're in Dublin, Jared, it's not me. Yeah.
Okay. And if you want a sexy lady, or if you have characters of your own that you want to draw.
Maybe you need a Dragon Zord. Yeah, maybe you need a Dragon Zord. She-Spawn. Actually, he did a really cool. Is it on here, Jeff? The G.I. Joe Aliens mashup.
Oh yeah, but that's way down that's
way down.
Way down.
Yeah, that's something I want to revisit.
Through these. Are these like sketch cards that you did?
No, these were Inktober's that I did. So you do you do one for each. Some of them are good. Some of them are. It depends. You're rushing for the day. You're just trying to get something out there.
Yeah, my wife does a lot of those. She's doing one right now for March. Like there's a Mascots March.
There's a Mask of the Phantasm I did based on Azrael.
Cool. That came out good.
That's cool.
Yeah. There's my Darth Wayne. I've had people. That thing sold out a couple times. Actually, the first version of it. So.
Earthworm Jim. That's awesome. Yeah, very cool, man. It's good stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, some good stuff throughout all of this, and you can see how Advent Dark is kind of permeated through a lot of his commission work, and like you can see inspirations and whatnot.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. Now, anything else coming up on your horizon besides Advent Dark, or are you just focused on this series going forward now?
I'm focused on the series. I do have, and it would be set in the same universe. I do have. I was thinking it was too far. Dylan Dog, the whole Private Eye with the supernatural. I wanted to do something like that, and it's just because I like horror ideas. I want to do some horror stuff. I love horror. He's got an idea for a zombie. He wants to take some of my characters and mix them with his for a one shot, which I'd be definitely down for. So
we've been toying with an idea of kind of doing an homage to Night of the Living Dead set in the Advent Dark universe. I kind of want to bring my characters in, but I also kind of want to tell the story independent. So I guess
characters from Surrounded by Death.
Surrounded by Death, but I feel like it's too much of a shoehorn. So I don't know if I want to do that, but I kind of like the idea of it. I like the idea of crossing over. I love the idea of indie comics crossing over. You know what I mean? So I like that, but I also wanted to serve the story naturally and organically, and not just feel like one of those like 90s DC versus Marvel shoehorn things,
Right.
There is a concept story called Night of the Bobs that we are talking about, and we've been talking about forever. And this
why not crowdfund it as a one shot or something?
Definitely an annual. I think that's
like another number one you can sell, because if there's one thing at conventions, it's like everybody goes for those number ones, So
I like an annual too.
I'm thinking an annual is the best way to do it.
Right. And then just throw that one on it. People won't even know the difference.
Then exactly. The Bobs are like what the bioorganic batches are basically like synthetic clones that are all connected by one mind. So they're used for everything throughout the facility. They're used in the field. So they all connect back to a giant head. Kind of like a Zordon / the Supreme Intelligence from
a Mega Bob.
Nice.
Right. So one of these Bobs.
Have you guys seen that new cartoon on Netflix, that Kid Cosmic?
No, what is it?
Well, it's really good. It's I highly recommend it to anyone watching. It has such a love for comic books and science fiction. It's the guy that did Powerpuff Girls, but it's more like, it doesn't look like that. It looks more like I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. You know, like, more like Samurai Jack kind of a look.
Oh, okay.
But it's like these 5 people that live in the desert. One of them's a kid, and they all find these stones that came from outer space. They all can do different things.
Nice.
Oh,
And then
cool.
they're fighting like alien invasions, that all these waves of aliens coming to look for these stones. And it's just a fun cartoon. It's funny. It's sci-fi. When you guys said that, it reminded me of that, some of those elements, you know?
Yeah.
Nice.
Especially
Yeah,
because one of the characters, one of the stones makes him multiply. So he has like multiple man. So he has like a million copies.
Yeah.
But, you know, as long as you don't kill the original, these copies can just keep going, you know? So that's what it kind of reminded me of a little bit. But yeah, put that on your radar, you guys.
Yeah.
You
Very
probably
cool.
could get some ideas from that, from like just from some of the aliens and stuff, you know?
Yeah, I like that.
But yeah, no, I like what you guys are doing. I think you guys should definitely work on a crossover. I think it's a great way to blend audiences too, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
I think for Night of the Bobs, I know we'll have to talk more about that. And if I'm going to jump on issue 3, like that might delay things even further. But we'll figure it out. Well, the future's open.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we've been going about an hour and 10
We got about an
minutes
hour.
now,
Yep.
So we should probably start to wrap things up.
Just in case I freeze again.
yeah, get you when you're in a good spot. Yeah.
Thankfully, you've frozen very gracefully every single time.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I could have been one of those where you like half a sneeze kind of face.
Or get you with the red eye.
Fantastic.
No, your adorableness just shine through on every frozen frame.
So so we got the Advent Dark issue 2 Kickstarter. People, I put the link down in the description. But if someone just goes to Kickstarter, they can search Advent Dark and it'll come right up.
Yep.
I put your website, I put your Instagram down there, and I think I put your Twitter and Facebook. That covers everything, right? For where people can find you. What's the best place? Are you more on Instagram? Are you more on Twitter?
Instagram is more of my
that's definitely
place. My place of choice. Yeah.
So if you guys like what you see here, definitely consider backing the campaign. Reach out to Jared if you want to get a commission, or if you just want to follow a good artist. I'm sure you do process stuff on there and things like that too, Jared. Or do you do process videos and stuff like that on Instagram, like where you record yourself drawing and things like that?
Well,
he's too shy for that.
With this whole setup, I actually was planning on doing some more.
Oh, good. You should. I
know
a lot of
as long as it behaves itself.
Yeah, right.
One thing I can also say is that Jared's also a former Sketch-Off champion. So,
really?
And I think that's how we actually got to know each other. Is that you were one of my first champions for Sketch-Off.
That's true. Yeah, that was a good time.
I missed those scenes going on at conventions.
I know. I miss those in general. I miss just going to the shows.
2022, I think everything will be back to normal.
Next time I see this man in person, I'm gonna hug him so hard.
Awesome, Johnny. Anything else that you got promoting? That you want to let people know about?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I just want to thank Jared for taking the time to come on, because we appreciate, when you're in the midst of a campaign, things are busy. So we really appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
Well,
Definitely.
And then
a lot of fun.
Given that I worked on the book, I definitely know what people can expect, and I definitely encourage people to check it out. So please back the campaign while you can, because now's the best time to get it at the best value with all the cool stuff and alternate covers and things like that are only going to become a rarity in time.
Yeah. And if you like aliens, if you like stuff like Hellboy, like fun sci-fi, sexy women, this is the Kickstarter to back, right?
Yep. There's more coming from it. So I mean, it's not done. There's going to be a good story, I think. So
yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And they got a plan. You guys got a plan for more issues, which is good. That sounds awesome. Sounds like you guys. Yep. This is the kind of stuff people can have confidence in and backing because they know it's going to come out.
Yep, absolutely.
There's no finished.
Yeah, there's
Awesome.
no risk. There's no risk involved here for this campaign.
Beautiful.
Aside from that, people can find me on social media right here at
Yep.
Johnny C138.
And I put it
Also,
in the description every time. So
yep. So you can always check the description out there. Also, we just launched as I mentioned last night, we just launched the second episode of the movie preview show podcast, which you were featured in, Keith. It's the second half of the top 20. Top 10 for 2020. That's out there now. Everybody go take a listen on your favorite podcast platform. Just search for movie preview show with brackets around the P.
yeah, and then just on that podcast, I just want to tell everybody I messed up with my number one because I remember I actually picked a movie from 2019 as my number one, which was.
But you know what though? In all fairness to you, we saw that really late in December, 2019, so it might as well have been of 2020, right?
Yeah.
And two, it was one of the best films of that year. So that high runs right into 2020. So it's.
I thought about it
totally
after.
fair.
What I should have done is said, push everything down, make Tenet my number one, and then put at number 10 that Class Action Park documentary that I really loved. So
that's
if anyone's listening, that's what my real list is.
That's the funny thing about those top 10s is by the end of it, and you hear other people's choices, you're like, fuck, this list is completely wrong.
Yes. Well, you know what helped, I think, is that there was not a lot of movies, so it was easy to do this year. But I think next year is going to probably be a difficult list to put together, you know?
Absolutely. Battle Angel, that was 2019, Roland.
That movie was awesome.
Yes.
Or maybe even 2018, December of 2018.
Yeah, Roland, that's the mistake I made because I picked 1917 as my number one movie.
Awesome
but it
movie.
Had snuck in December at the very tail end of December on 2019. So technically was not a 2020 movie. And that's what happened. So, but it's a fun podcast anyways. We had a lot of good conversations during it.
Yeah,
and some really good choices. And back to the point that we talked about in the beginning, where you think everybody's going to have the same number one, and no one did, right, John?
Yeah. Everybody was different.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just awesome to see, you know. But anyways, for me, description has all my Mighty Mascot stuff. I'm pretty active on Twitter primarily these days, so follow me there. Of course, if you're watching on Facebook or you're watching on Twitch or Twitter or any of those other places, consider jumping over to YouTube and subscribe to the channel, because that's where we can actually see and interact with your comments a little better. And that's pretty much it. We'll be back next Wednesday and Thursday. We have another 2 back-to-back episodes.
Well, thank you, Amy.
We got that's my wife. She's sharing links, which is nice. Next Wednesday we got John Celestri, animation legend. You guys know John Celestri at all?
The name rings a bell. I've probably seen it in passing, or I probably am familiar with his work. Yeah,
I'm sure you have. He's animated a lot of Saturday morning stuff. Worked on Dragon's Lair and Space Ace. He animated the Boba Fett segment from the Star Wars Holiday Special.
That's right.
He's done a lot of stuff. He's got a Kickstarter, so he's coming on our show next week to promote that. And then Thursday, Johnny, you might know Eric. Do you know Eric Radvon?
Probably by face, just we were talking about earlier today.
He's done a few conventions. I know he's done Plastic City a bunch, and he's done Northeast Comic Con. So you probably have seen him, if you from sight. If you probably know who he is. He's got a Kickstarter, so he's coming on Thursday to promote. So we're going to be crazy busy for the next few weeks, which is good. Yep. Not for us, but for everybody watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyways, everybody, thanks for checking out the show as always. We love having you here. We love talking to indie creators. We love pushing indie books. Try something new, support indie creators. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, great guys. Any other last words or thoughts before we head out? No.
Keep on trucking.
Keep on
Yep.
trucking. All right, guys. Good night.
Good night.